Good morning and welcome to our Greater China in Market Update. I'm Ashley Ridley from State Promotions, Department for Trade and Investment, and I'm your host for this morning's webinar. For those of you who've previously joined our sessions, you'll already be relatively familiar with the format. Firstly, we'll hear from South Australia's expert overseas representative for a general update. And then following this, we'll be joined by Food SA's Chief Executive Officer, Catherine Sayer, and her in-country food and beverage representative, Queenie Qin, for a question and answer session. So before we get started, I'd just like to cover a couple of items. This session is being recorded and will be uploaded to the department's website. At any time during the webinar, you can ask questions through the Q&A section on the right-hand side of your screen. However, please ensure your question is directed to all panelists rather than to one specific person. This ensures our moderators can see the questions. If we do run out of time, we'll include any unanswered questions and the answers onto our website. And lastly, we will have a 10-second poll pop-up at the end of the webinar. So please take the time to complete this for us to continually improve our communications to you. So it's now my pleasure to introduce you to Xiaoya Wei, South Australia's Country Director in our Shanghai office in China. Welcome, Xiaoya.
Thank you, Ash, and thank you all for your time today. This is the second webinar for China, and I'll update you the current China market situation with what you need to know from China market. And moreover, we have our guest speakers from Food SA to give you more specific information about food and beverage in China. So I'd like to go through, firstly, the current market condition. First, according to China's National Health Commission Monday update, there are 12 new cases were recorded on Sunday, out of which 8 were imported. And the latest information I have just received this morning is that currently all 76 city and county level prefectures in central China's Hubei province were listed as low risk for COVID-19. In the latest list published by the province. Also within the provincial capital of Wuhan, all 3 cities of districts were also listed as low risk, which is great news. And another sign is that cities in China have begun scheduling this year's annual sessions of their legislatures and the political advisory bodies after the now abating COVID-19. Pandemic forced the meeting to be postponed nationwide. And secondly, that the pandemic is largely under control, with increases in new cases rising at a rate of less than 100 cases per day, although there are asymptomatic cases are not being identified effectively, but the fact that the number of new symptomatic cases is low. Therefore, the hospitals are now overwhelmed, is acting as a kind of proxy to provide confidence to the wider population that the situation has improved dramatically. Third is that still the restrictions remain. More domestic travel required quarantine upon arrival at destination for 14 days. And a similar policy was introduced for international travel once the pandemic was confirmed as a global problem. Right now, even foreigners with valid visas and working permits are not allowed back into China yet. And then I would say that people are adjusting to the new normal. The public mood now moved on from one of fear to one of caution. Caution has morphed into mere habit. I even feel a bit uncomfortable if I didn't wear a mask every day on the way to office. So people are adjusting to the new normal and seem to realize that there is a long battle ahead. However, the good thing is that normalization continues. We can see that Wuhan lockdown finished on 8th April, just after the day of our first webinar, and Wuhan celebrates the end of its coronavirus lockdown after 76 long days. And also we can see life continues to return to normal across the vast majority of China. You can also find China's consumers are starting to binge on travel, cosmetics again in signs of economy is reviving. And then we can also experience and find that China's bars and restaurants resume trade. Trade in Chinese bars and restaurants has resumed in parts of the country as it cautiously emerged from lockdown now. And the good signal is that hotel industry in China is showing signs of recovering as well. Business for China's hotel industry is starting to pick up as the COVID-19 pandemic has been controlled to a situation of stability in the country. And what's more and most exciting for especially parents like myself, that schools start to reopen. Students in their final year of junior and senior high schools in Jiangxi, Hunan, Hainan, Xinjiang, and Tibet have returned to school. Beijing and Shanghai have announced that classes for high school seniors would reopen on April the 27th. And also, this recent announcement that schools will start to reopen is another sign that normality is getting closer in China, at least. And next, let's talk about economy and trade. First, you can actually the number we just received last Friday is that China's economy shrank by 6.8% in the first quarter of 2020. This is the first contraction since the end of Cultural Revolution in 1976, confirming in the economic damage done by the coronavirus pandemic. New data released by the National Bureau of Statistics on last Friday confirmed the slump. NBA's data also showed that over the single month of March, the economy remained under huge pressure, with the industrial sectors, retail, and fixed asset investment all shrinking again, following a dramatic collapse over the first 2 months of the year. Although confidence in the government response seems high, nevertheless, business people realized that many types of business are being seriously hit. And then about unemployment. The urban survey unemployed rate in China decreased to 5.9% in March 2020 from a record high of 6.2% in the previous month. However, we should notice that like migrant workers' jobs in the construction sector, for example, don't show up in official government figures. So while there has been a significant uptake in employment rate, it is likely that the real figures is much higher. The restaurant is resumed, but it is slow. Restaurants in China are gradually reopened as a new COVID-19 infection wane, but they are finding it difficult to reach even half of their pre-outbreak revenues. As a fact, 1/4 of restaurants expected to close permanently, which is sad. And for logistic end, airlines convert passenger planes to haul cargo. Airlines are converting passengers, jet lines, into cargo planes to keep afloat after the COVID-19 pandemic brought heavy restrictions and depressed the travel market. At least 10 Chinese and international airlines managed to retrofit planes to haul goods instead of people. We also updated this news in our daily update to our SA businesses as well. And also we can find ports have fairly consistently achieved 90% of throughput. And then next, what's the new policies has been released so far? First, that you can find that China cuts MLF borrowing costs to record low. The People's Bank of China said it was lowering the 1-year medium-term lending facility MLF loans to financial institutions to 2.95%, the lowest since the liquidity tool was introduced in September 2014, which is down 20 basis points from 3.15% previously. And also, there's a lot of subsidies as well. Several provinces and cities started distribution of time-limited consumption vouchers. This has been introduced during our last webinar, and you can find more cities and provinces have started now as well. And also we find there's policy regarding extended weekends. provinces offer extended weekends in effort to boost consumer spending. Like Nanjing, the capital of Jiangsu province, is implementing a 2.5-day weekend, which is good. Cities in about a dozen provinces and municipalities, including like Jiangxi, Zhejiang, and Gansu, have rolled out similar measures to stimulate consumer spending in the wake of pandemic diseases. And also, State Council announced a preferential tax policy for SMEs extended to 2023. These extended incentives include a value-added tax exemption on the interest income from loans of 1 million yuan, and which equivalent to about US dollar 142,000 and below, issued by financial institutions to small and micro enterprises, as well as tax breaks on income from providing insurance business for the agriculture breeding industry. But behind the scene is that more than 460,000 Chinese firms closed permanently in the first quarter, with more than half of them having operated for under 3 years. So these are the current market situations so far. Let's move to the next slide of what you need to know then. From trade perspective, because I understand that most of our audiences today are from SA businesses, so what you need to know is that most trade fairs will be held online or postponed in the first half of 2020 now. I just choose the most relevant big trade fairs for reference here. First is that according to the latest notice, the 127th Canton Fair will be held online in June 2020. This is for the first time ever that the Canton Fair will be held online in June. However, there's also new technologies to be introduced, like Tencent will be the technology infrastructure provider for Canton Fair. And then the second one I want to give you notice is that China's largest food and drink fair rescheduled again. The twice yearly China Food and Drink Fair, originally scheduled from which is to be held in March, will take place from May in the city of Chengdu, as announced earlier in late March. However, on 17th April, the organizer announced again to postpone the trade fair. Time is still to be confirmed. This is more relevant to our wine exporters, so please pay more attention about that. And also, we noticed that CL China 2020 will postpone to September 28th to 30th, 2020, and the place will be held at National Exhibition Center and Convention Center in Shanghai. Hope we will have chance to see you all again coming to China at that time. And however, the third CIIE will still go on. However, this time, the third China International Import Expo plans to double the size of its medicine and medical equipment section from that of last year's event. The section will display items as drugs, medical equipment, elderly care, health food and medical services, etc. So currently, we heard that more than 1,000 exhibitors worldwide have signed up for the third CIIE to be held in Shanghai in November. Likewise, like 60% of the exhibit space so far. So next, what you need to know, especially from product perspective? The answer is that safety, quality, and boosting immunity products. You can find that Chinese market has shifted slightly and is seeking for these safety, quality, and boosting immunity products. And the crisis impacted consumer attitudes to product safety, the environment, and healthy lifestyles as well. In the coming months, it makes sense for our brands to explore these trends in your new consumer engagement strategies. And next, look at the next slide, is that I understand lots of our SA wineries actually participating in our webinar today. So I'd like to share with you about a little about the Chinese interesting China wine scene during the virus crisis. First is home drinking or not. Actually, sales in China still rely on entertainment for wine majorly, which is driven drinking bottoms up, 干杯 in China. So a rare silver lining of the crisis is people drinking at home, mainly because that's where they have been stuck. The question is to what degree this will continue when more familiar social drinking options are fully available and coming back. And about the lifestyle. Although home drinking won't come close to challenging social drinking for volume, but some of this lifestyle consumption will continue, including by those people who have interest in high-end wine glasses, wine preservation systems, and other tools. And also, we have seen a general boom in creativity and exploration in the kitchen. One of wine trade should leverage. Everybody is posting their delicious kitchen capabilities nowadays. Even myself want to take a try one day. So that is what is happening daily here. And then about the prices and packages. Usually we understand that lower prices seem to be the lone strategy for boosting sales for many of our importers and distributors of wine. While comparing the craft beer, spirits, and cocktail bar trade appears far more adaptive in adding new products and with more creative promotions. If trade fair has just mostly lowered the price, it's a bit underwhelming. So we need to learn more from, like those who doing more creatively and more adaptive in this market. And online. The online here referred to that every day you can find the entire trade seems to have boosted its online presence now. Many wine importers in trade groups to local producers to educators are pushing online seminars, lessons with vast of topics, and it is worth paying attention to. Our China office will also planning somehow the online programs, and shortly we will send out a notice to you, and I hope you will take a look by the time we are implementing our programs. And then next, let's take a look of the digital and remote side. While certain sectors are definitely booming, will be a worldwide phenomenon, and it in fact may play into the hands of China in a medium term. It is well known that China is ahead in the race to 5G, which is all about digital and remote. First is that we should realize consumer demand for online services is recovering. A pickup in lifestyle services shows that life is returning to normal in China. Sorry. And that consumption is increasingly digital according to Alipay data. Food and entertainment companies such as such as groceries, bubble tea shops, and movie theaters saw different decrease of business recovery. Online sales for dental and cosmetic medical services rocketed like 3,000% in late March compared with the previous 10 days, as the data shows recently. And also, you can find online teaching and conferencing have boomed. And also, we can find China's remote office platforms seeing boom during outbreak. The virus outbreak has fast forwarded the development of the remote working market by 5 years, according to Tencent. Alibaba's DingTalk, for example, had more than 200 million daily active users by mid-March, up from less than 100 million in early February. Tencent meeting style grew from less than 2 million to over 10 million during the same period, and WeChat Works rose from nearly 10 million previously to 15 million at the beginning of March. So that is tremendous trend now. And also we can find interesting in China that live streaming become more popular, and especially for product promotion. For example, like in Hubei, the province where Wuhan is located, is heading the country in live streaming. Over 30 county heads have launched their live streaming channels on Taobao Live, promoting the province's fresh produce and specialties. And also currently, Luo Yonghao, the CEO tune, the influencer of smartphone company SmartChain, has his first live stream session on 1st of April, during which he sold a wide range of items, including projectors, vacuum cleaners, shrimps, and toothbrushes. The session was a success, with 8.41 million items being ordered and the number of viewers reaching almost 49 million. Moreover, we can find that delivery of goods rather than visiting shops has continued its transition to the mainstream. Daily new users of major fresh food e-commerce and online to offline platforms has increased by 50 to 200%, and year-on-year growth in transaction volume on these platforms has risen 3 to 4 times. So that's the bit of sharing the marketing insight and the news for you. And how can we help? We are still continue providing market COVID-19 update on daily basis, and we're also following up and facilitate in-market business leads for our SA businesses. Moreover, there are a series of SA business supporting program ongoing. Just paying attention to DITI's website and EDM from time to time. Well, that's almost to an end of my today's presentation. If you want any assistance, please approach either DITI China office or our China desk in Adelaide. Here's our contact details. Thank you all for listening to my presentation today, and I will over to you, Ash, MC.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Xiaoya. That was great. Really good to hear some positivity with some signs of normality returning to China. So that was a really good to hear. And I'm sure everyone's looking forward to a time when we can get back to travelling and attend to some of those trade fairs you mentioned. South Australian businesses are very supportive of CIIE, and there has been a couple of questions that's come through, Xiaoya, that Andrew Govan would actually like to have addressed. Firstly, a good point. Is it likely that that people attending CIIE will have to be part of a 2-week quarantine? What's your thoughts around that?
Actually, as I mentioned, it is still under constraint for the visiting, especially even you hold a visa, you cannot enter into China yet, and 14 days quarantine is still common practice between provinces in inland China. So for CIIE, so far we don't know will there still be quarantine requirement or not? But at that time, if the government announced CIIE will still go on offline, I believe this kind of quarantine will be maybe finally released. For example, in September or even earlier, we hope. So things are changing every day, but business still need to go on. The government is trying to balance the trade and also the control of the pandemic. So I believe if it will be resumed in November, it should not be taking such long day for quarantine. Otherwise, it just wastes the time of our travelers from overseas, especially.
It's a bit of a wait and see, isn't it? Unfortunately, I think some businesses are being asked to pay now with no refund, or they lose their space. So it's a little bit of a tricky situation. Perhaps that's something that we can discuss behind the scenes and come back to some of the listeners, and we'll find the best means to address that. Also on the CIIE front, there's been, we've been told there might be a tourism and education section at CIIE. Is that the case?
So far, I think we noticed that the healthy sector will be expanded. And regarding the education sector, we should double check about the details of the plan. And if there are specific inquiries, please approach to DT directly, because we have the contact with CIIE, and even the Consul General in Adelaide is also proactively supporting the CIIE registration. Just a reminder that the registration might be closed by the end of April, so please just watch closely and approach us for your detailed inquiry. We are happy to support and provide any information that might be helpful.
We have got a couple more questions. We'll just ask one more and then we'll head over to Food SA presentation. Tony Zhang has asked, any advice for higher education providers regarding how to promote degree programs to prospective students in China, given the uncertainties of the current travel restrictions?
Actually, yesterday we just received very good advice from Austrade. We are working embedded with Austrade Shanghai, so just like a team, and they have very strong education team. While for our Shanghai office, we also have colleagues looking after this sector. There's quite a lot of good advice from that email. I would be more than happy to share with you, which will including the the website and also the live stream, broadcasting about the frequent asked questions. And if there is some particular inquiry, we are also happy to support you for individual inquiries as well. So we will revert back to you, Tony, regarding your detailed questions. Thank you.
Yes. So if you do submit a question, we can access your email address, so we can contact you directly. Same with you, Andrew. I'll be in touch with you. So we'll cover that the questions for now. So please continue submitting questions, and then we can raise these with Xiaoya and our speakers after the next part of the webinar. So now it's my pleasure to introduce you to Food SA's Chief Executive Officer, Catherine Sayer, and her in-country food and beverage representative, Queenie Qin. So welcome, Catherine and Queenie. Thanks for your patience.
Thanks very much, Ashley, and very conscious of time, so we'll get straight into it, but it's our pleasure to be involved in this seminar. So Queenie Qin, who I'd like to introduce is in our Shanghai office. Queenie, what's happening in the food and beverage sector since COVID-19 appeared in China?
Yes, compared with the same period 2019, the food prices have risen 18.3% due to the pandemic, and China's total revenue in the catering industry decreased 43.1% in Q1. So during that situation, China has issued shopping vouchers to spend in online shops, shopping malls, and restaurants. According to the latest information, nearly 50 cities from 16 provinces and the regions issue coupons with cumulative value range from million to hundreds of millions of yuan by April 8th. And also they have the break news that Chinese coffee chain Looking Coffee that opened 4,500 shops, which Starbucks opened 1,292 shops till December 2019 in China, has had a share frozen on the Nasdaq pending an update on its admission for fabricated sales of RMB 2.2 million, equally 489 million Australian dollars in 2019. This is the big happening in the food and beverage industry in China.
Gone into China very significantly, so that's certainly something to watch. So Queenie, around retail, what's happening in the retail sector in China?
Yes, actually affected by the outbreak, the retail sales declined 14% in Q1 of 2020. And according to that, the consumers choose a performance for beverage never sweep for preserving and stable food, like rice and the flour. And even lockdown was lifted, So consumers are going to the supermarket one or two times a week maximum. But we see good news that Shanghai's retail sales soared 41.3 in the last month. And the really interesting thing is the instant food category has enjoyed a huge sales boost during the pandemic in China. The Chinese consumers' passion for instant food is driven by their craving for the existing taste experience and comforting food such as rice noodles, self-heating hot pot, those novel, distinctive taste that is a way of helping our mood during the epidemic. And according to the news report, in 2020, Shanghai plans to open 30 shopping mall centers, which 3 are renovation and upgrading, and 27 are new building. And also the new thing is, according to priority, that Huarun Group, which own the Olay supermarket, will open 300 community convenience stores called Wanjia Mart by 2022. And the Yonghui supermarket plan to open 150 supermarket in 2020, but as due to the epidemic, so they mentioned it's only 60 or 70% store are expected to be completed. And Herma, one of the high-end supermarket, will open the Herma mini store, which support the community needs and quickly deliver service. Right now, they open 6 stores in Shanghai already. Those information and those supermarket chain have plans to expand and develop their own apps. They want to bloom in their own commercial business channel. So right now, this is the update information for the retail chain.
Thanks, Queenie. And it's interesting, for 30 new shopping centres to be opening, it's quite a significant construction around Shanghai. So Xiaoya talked a little bit about food service. So maybe just give a couple of extra points around food service.
Yeah, so mostly like restaurants, yes, has reopened, but hotels, high-end restaurant, Japanese restaurant, and institutional like hospital, school, government agency, railways, airline, state-owned, they are covering slowly. But somehow the hotels and the restaurant chain have improved around 30 or 50% over the past months. But one interesting is the raw food like sashimi. The sales have fallen significant, and we haven't seen it will be increased as some salmon process importer finding the processing company make its smoked salmon to sell in the retail. And also fast food company have rolling out no contact delivery service, and those food sales pick up 9.7%, and as people shifted from dine in to take out in the last month. So according to the information from China Restaurant Association, about 50% national restaurants are open, but 25% seafood restaurants are still closed in Guangdong province. So hotel restaurants are among the hardest hit section with far fewer customers since the outbreak. So this is the situation that we will face for the food service.
Thank you, Queenie. And e-commerce, what's happening in that area?
Yeah, e-commerce is one explosive growth section. Right now, like a very famous online fresh food called Miss Fresh. In total, they have sold more than 200 million items, and they made 3 to 5 million vegetable delivery daily, nationally, and over 60,000 tons of vegetable has been sold in February and March. But we see, due to the financial crisis, people who had a little or no income are cutting down expenses, and we just buying the daily necessity as they'll try to save. But also delivery and courier firms, including Meituan and the Dianping, encourage contact delivery to reduce the contiguous risk. So with the delivery man, we putting the order in a self-counter or a predetermined place, so we don't see each other. But the e-commerce platform like Jingdong, Fresh, Hema, Dingdong, Grocery, Suning, Carrefour, DMP, and Meituan is that depriving the fresh food are seen soaring demand. But we see this will affect the visitors numbers and the revenue for offline shopping center, I think, for a long time. So e-commerce still see the develop in the growth in the past, in the future.
We've had a question that has come through, Queenie, and I'm not sure whether you could answer it now or whether we need to get back to Nick about it. But the question is about logistics running around China, the last mile delivery. You've just talked about a lot of the e-commerce. What's happening, or is it being affected and slowed up, or is it able to cope through the system?
Actually, we going smoothly just after the 8th of April. Before, the logistics still like the block. We do not deliver in the Hubei. And also, it's that have the break news, like Yamato China, who is 100% owned by Yamato Japan, a professional cold chain transportation of chill and fresh food logistic. This company will close in the China office on 13th of April. So we have not found more detail, but it looked like for the chill and the fresh, we were facing some challenge, but also have to develop, see who will be take place for this opportunity. And also on the 7th of April, the State Council meeting proposed established 46 new integrated pilot zone for cross-border e-commerce on top of the 59 existing one. So we are think is the cross-border e-commerce is also blooming, so the logistics can fix it. And as Xiaoya mentioned before, the 127th China Import and the Expo Fair, we call it Canton Fair, will be hosted online in late June. This fair will provide a round-the-clock service for online product promotion, matchmaking, and business negotiation. And also they have new things for Shanghai, because Shanghai has announced new regulations aimed at improve the city's public health system and its ability to cope with major epidemic emergency. So in order to become one of the world safety city in public health by 2025. So this is the long range plan for Shanghai to face on the city public health. But we haven't seen any details in anything related to logistics in the food, but we will catch and follow up on that.
Great, thank you. What about, Queenie, moving a little bit further along, are there any emerging opportunities for food and beverage?
Actually, as mentioned, right now the online e-commerce. So in order to improve the store sales as due to the epidemic and outbreak, the live streaming and other online methods are being used, inviting the customer to scan a brand online code to get into the online shopping group, where the brand will introduce their products or just live stream them in the store. So the clients will see and we can order, we have the click. This increased the cultivation of online shopping among consumers during the outbreak will have a few negative impact. Of course, on offline shopping, even after epidemic, is placed under control. So right now the live streaming is blooming. So this is one of the emerging opportunity.
Right.
For us.
So leading on to our last question, what can food and beverage businesses be doing now and looking forward to recovery?
I think we can integrate the source, like we have the online sales campaign to help bring the more customer, or online technical or product education to bring more customers, or we can that own the online shop or flat shop store to present, to introduce the product. Also, they have the one is to introduce and sell the product at the place from the original through the live streaming or the videos to show where the product's coming from, because Australian has a really good reputation. Fresh, safety, quality. This is the major three words when we heard the food is from Australia. So we can combine like the e-commerce platform to introduce. And based on that, if you need more detail, yeah, you can contact the food essay because we have the team, so we can give you more information in detail how is the work for the live streaming in China.
Thank you very much, Queenie. That's great. And Ashley, I know we've run a bit over time, so we might wrap it up now if that's all right. But we thanks very much, Queenie, and Xiaoya, thank you for your update as well. And I'll hand back to you, Ashley.
Thanks, Catherine, and thanks, Queenie, for a great Q&A session. I'm sure some of those tips and the information you presented will be very useful for our local businesses. So as everyone can see, local industry has so much support, both government and associations. I mean, we have our offshore government reps like Xiaoya, our Adelaide-based staff here in Adelaide, our market teams, we've got sector-focused teams, and of course our trade start advisors with whom many of you would already hold a relationship. We also have organisations and associations like Food SA, who's just presented, Wine Australia, Business SA, and local chambers even. Hi, Ivan. So that's fantastic. It's a really good update to show how much support there is for our local businesses. There's no questions on the food and bev side at the moment, but Xiaoya, a couple have come in perhaps that you might be able to address. Jayant Kateska has asked, he provides an environmental consultancy in China. The project was affected earlier due to African swine fever and now due to coronavirus. When do you think the situation will be normalised? Just hope you can answer this one, Xiaoya.
I think the changes is happening on daily basis. However, I think the environmental protection is also have great a potential to further, to be implemented or introduced into China. So I think that is fairly depends on the certain project and certain requirement from the local government or related authorities. Just send us more details regarding the project related issues, and we can help to find more background information or even related resources or information for you. Send us email. Thank you.
That sounds great. We'll reach out to you, Jayant. Thank you for that. A couple of other people have sent in asking for the same information on international education. So again, we're happy to share that with you as well. So we've taken that on board. And one final question at the moment. So if you've got any last questions, send them through, please, while we've got Catherine and Queenie and Xiaoya online. Ben Howard's asked, are the Chinese government looking to ease restrictions for investment into Australia?
For the investment into Australia, so far we learned that there's a newly introduced FIRB restriction, but from China side we didn't see much government restriction regarding overseas investment, but behind the scene there might be some potential things. However, I think that also depends on the kind of project and also the background of the enterprise, whether it's state-owned enterprise or it's private sector, and also the industry sector. So we're happy to provide more relevant information, but in general, we didn't find any restriction published by the government so far. Thank you.
That's great. Well, that looks like it comes to the end of the webinar at this stage. So thanks, Xiaoya, Catherine and Queenie. It's been an absolute pleasure having you join us this morning. We're going to pop up a poll now. So if you don't mind completing this poll, that will help us tremendously. And there is a field for comments. So if you'd like to offer a suggestion for a sector-specific presentation, let us know and we'll source some experts in that particular field. Lastly, we have a presentation tomorrow morning, or a webinar tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for our latest Americas update from our South Australian representative, Regina Johnson, and a presentation will follow by Wine Australia's Regional Manager for North America, Aaron Ridgway. So thanks, Xiaoya. Thanks, Catherine and Queenie. Lovely to see you again. Thanks, everyone. Have a lovely day.
Thanks.
Thank you.